So for today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Today I have my student Cameron. I've been working with Cameron now for the last 18 months, all the way back before Cameron even decided or even closed out his first client. So that must have been like mid-summer or early 2019, around that time when we got in touch. And I've seen Cameron's progression go from just not even having a clue on the digital agency structure to building out his digital agency, offering website consultation as well as website development for his clients, and then shifting that, going after some paid traffic, monthly retainer clients, and then shifting it even more and ending up with an SEO agency. And he's going to be telling you the story today on how he closed out $100,000 deal, a six-figure deal, which is absolutely incredible. Yeah, Cameron, I would like to welcome you to the channel today, and I'm happy to have you on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on here.
Dude, you've been absolutely like slaying it recently. Like I will just on a random day, every couple of days or so, I'll just get a message from you just saying like, "Hey, I closed out another deal," or "Hey, I closed out a website consultancy for $6,000 to build out certain websites." You've gotten the ball rolling. You've gotten the momentum going, but it wasn't always like that. So, do you want to take us through the journey on where you were around 18 months ago and the progression that you've gone through? Up to the pandemic in March and then post-pandemic as well.
Yeah. Thanks again. Thanks again, Evan, for having me. And yeah, just so starting off here. I've known Evan for a long time. I actually spoke with Evan on another video about a year ago as well, chatting about my journey to starting the agency and kind of I was doing a little bit more of like freelancing back then, but as well as like website design. And as you mentioned, transition to more retainer model with different offerings and refining that as well. But yeah, so now, when I first started chatting with Evan about digital marketing, he was the one who kind of informed me about everything and how to about the space. I had no idea really, and I was looking to make some more side income at first, but that obviously transitioned into making a full-time living off of digital marketing. And so yeah, when I started with Evan, I was just doing website design. I primarily was using Webflow and WordPress as well, and that went well. But I quickly discovered that there was some more money in digital marketing, and I started to enjoy that more as well. And so I started to get into Facebook ads, and obviously, and that transitioned into kind of a full stack of digital marketing service, like paid traffic services for businesses. I ended up meeting my business partner, Yanan, as well. And we ended up forming an agency in Vancouver. And since from, the past 18 months, we've gone from zero to not zero. We're making probably around 30,000 or more a month now, probably closer to around 40. So it's going really, really well. And, our goal for January, it's about the end of October. For our goal for January is to try and hit 100,000 a month.
That is incredible. I absolutely love that story. You've taken a lot of the elements of what our conversations have been like and throughout the program inside of agency supremacy. You were right there in the beginning in the beta process as well, and you're one of the first people to join up into it. And just to see your progression throughout the last 18 months is really incredible, and is actually very inspiring for people that started out in that position of not having a client and starting out in the position of not knowing how to do outreach, not knowing how to build out a relationship. So, what were some of the elements that really allowed you to focus down and narrow down and have a complete sales process to bring a complete stranger and bring them on and become a full-time paying client for your own agency?
Great question. I think the biggest challenge at the start for me was I didn't know how to sell. And that's not a skill that we really learn in life unless you're, put into that kind of sales position. So learning how to sell it took a long time for me. I was more of the type of guy that would go in and grind on the, the busy work, the marketing stuff, the websites. Um, and obviously at first I was going on like Instagram doing cold messaging, which is, a decent place to start. And I quickly moved away from that and went more into LinkedIn, which ended up being an incredible decision because that was like the next step into like really starting to get some momentum. But from there, as I mentioned, I met my business partner and he was more on the sales side. So he had some really good sales experience and we took that even way beyond, way beyond, anything that I would have imagined really. So we ended up building out a remote sales team. So we actually do have sales reps in-house as well, and they work commission only. And basically they get a really hefty recurring commission. But yeah, so we just mastered that outbound sales process because when you're starting an agency or you're starting any, to do work in this field, you need to know how to sell, right? So navigating that has been, and learning kind of how to listen to people and understand their pain. And also, I think the most important thing is to create an irresistible offer. So what we do is we offer like money back guarantees, not on paid traffic as much, but more on the SEO side. And that's kind of our specialty now, ironically. But money back guarantees and showing case studies. Case studies are the business, basically. Like that's what's going to make, the final decision. You're going to be able to close a lot better if you have these things. Moving away from proposals has been really, really valuable. So we actually do a live demo on my reps would do a live demo on Google Slides. It's literally like 4 or 5 slides. That's it. You just need to know how to navigate it and show them. And, so for example, we had a case study where we brought a client from 0 to 1.3 million in revenue using SEO because that specific niche, they can't run ads online. They're restricted. So we just leveraged that and went after that specific niche down super hard. And it's just you're speaking to this person's biggest problems and you're guaranteeing to solve their problem. So it's almost like, they're much more willing to give you $10,000 a month, right? That might seem crazy, but we just signed a client the other day. It was around 10,000 a month, which was for about a year. So unbelievable stuff when you can create those kinds of offers and learn how to sell.
Honestly, man, it's so incredible to hear your journey from the time when we first started working together to where you are now. It's just day and night, and I can see it in your physical sense as well. I can see it based on the confidence that you have, and that you've grown into. And and for those of you that are curious that are watching this right now, you can actually like head up here. I'll put it in the tab, and I'll also put it in the description. Our first interview, which was about a year ago, talking about closing out your first. I think it was an e-commerce client that you closed out for 2,000 per. I think it was $2,000 retainer, or it was a website client. But it was both relatively at the same time when you started to really scale up around a year ago. Might have hit some hunches during COVID, which is pretty much what happened with everyone, including myself. Like everyone wasn't immune to this because what are the odds that a pandemic's going to happen? Like 1 in every 100 years, 1 in every 200 years. So there's like a 1% chance or 0.5% chance. No one was immune from it. So I want to hear from yourself. How did you overcome that initial piece of mindset that you had that you can start asking for that type of money over the phone? When did you start to say, hey, I now can start asking for this amount of money over the phone? Because that's one of the things that so many people get in social media marketing, and they get very scared about asking people for money, or that they're going to be laughed at. $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month, like that's so ridiculous. But I'm in these conversations every single day with both my own clients and prospects and students, that really people are paying for this because you're solving a problem. Your offer is solving an emotional problem for your prospect which will then turn into a great relationship and hopefully a long-lasting relationship with a client. So if you do, you want to take me through the process on the initial outreach and the process of that six-figure contract, because that is such a remarkable story, and just going from not knowing who this person was, say a year ago or a year and a half ago, to then signing a six-figure deal with them. So if you want to share that, that would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. As I touched on before, I kind of dove into a little bit about dialing that sales process. And guys, the thing is like there's so many people trying to get into digital marketing, and some people might say, "Oh, it's saturated, this and that." But the problem is not, it's very rare to find someone that actually really has nailed it. The people that really nailed this space, they're making a lot of money, and they can make and not only that, like obviously the fulfillment side of it is different. When we're talking about fulfillment, like you run into other issues later, like being way too busy. Like that's a challenge that Evan and I were just talking about now, where I'm so busy doing stuff. Now I have to make sure that I'm hiring out and doing all that and having a really solid SOPs, and just more stuff that happens later. But for the actual like acquiring these customers, I would argue that's the biggest challenge that digital marketers face, right? So again, it's just people don't know how to sell, and these services are high ticket, and it's a very competitive market. So it's just this crazy combination of stuff, right? It's not like a software solution where it's a very unique offer, but you almost have to create that uniqueness, even with an offer that may not be unique per se. You're offering a more of a general service, maybe like Facebook ads or whatever. But the way we combat that, the way we combated it is, and what I'm about to say takes time. So we niche down very, very hard. Like we only do one specific niche, and it's such a unique scenario too. And I would say we stumbled across this niche by accident. And you talked about COVID before, and I was doing a lot of the real estate niche, and I was doing lots of different stuff, and we were trying to figure it out. Like, what do we go after? Because the first thing that comes to people's minds when they think niche down, they think like doctors, dentists, these sorts of things, right? People with money. But the reality is like sometimes you kind of have to just throw yourself into this whole process and figure it out as you go along and kind of niche down. But so yeah, the step one is just that niche, and you just got to go so deep and just go into one specific area. But not only just niching down, but finding the biggest problems. So which niches really need this service and why, right? So that's a little bit different than what people say. They just say niche down, but you have to find the problem. Because just because I say I only do neurosurgeons, Facebook ads for neurosurgeons, that's great. But the problem is like, is that really going to benefit them the most? Because the thing is like you need someone to be so in need of what you have that they'll just throw their credit card at you. That's how I kind of envision it, or kind of position it. So we did find that, and it was a unique scenario with SEO, and we just went right after the specific niche that needed it. So because of that, this person, I got on a call with this prospect that, believe it or not, we do pretty much solely email marketing to this one specific niche. We just do outbound emails. It's 100% free. I don't run a single ad to these people yet. We probably will be exploring that in the future as we get more reps and et cetera. But I did a one-time outbound email to this guy. I got on one call, and then the next day I closed him for $10,000 a month, because he was so desperate to find one person that was local, someone that is willing to work in his niche, because there are nuances with it. As I mentioned, they are unable to run ads online. And it just was the perfect formula for this person just to be like, I don't care what it costs, just give it to me, essentially. And then obviously that was a higher ticket deal. This person isn't even an enterprise or mid-size. It's a smaller business as well. So, and now that's obviously branched out, and now we're starting to get connections to to larger enterprise companies and things like that. So, but yeah, just really formulating your value proposition is really important, and it's not enough just to say I do like Facebook ads. Like you have to really speak to one person's accord, right? And boil their whole persona down into one person and just sell to their, because if you really understand a niche and you're really niche down, you can really understand the person's problems and that market's problems. And then you can position your copy and your ads or whatever else, your emails, right to their biggest problems, right? So that's been transformational in the last 18 months, is learning how to navigate that. And obviously my role, I lead more of the marketing side, but as a co-founder, you definitely will have to wear a couple hats when you build a bigger agency.
Oh, exactly, 100%. Thank you for sharing that. That is such an incredible journey, and it's so many valuable lessons that are in there. And uh, honestly, dude, like out of anyone that's gone through the program before with agency supremacy, there's no one there that has applied the knowledge, the tasks, the implementations. There's no one that has done it better than yourself, and you're now living proof of that, building out an agency, a digital agency, and it doesn't really matter what kind of digital agency it is, be it SEO, websites, Facebook advertising, affiliate marketing. It really doesn't matter, as long as your core offer is amazing. You figure out your niche, you dive headfirst into your niche, which is what we talk about inside of module one, inside of the program, is diving headfirst into your niche, and you can understand and reach out and speak to the same language as those people that you're targeting, and seeing what kind of issues and problems that they're facing, so that you can curtail and shift your offer so that you can solve those issues. And I know that your industry, you mentioned that Facebook ads isn't an option for it. I know what the industry is, but I know that you don't want to mention it on camera, which is more than fine. People can find out. People can find out probably just by researching you. But
Yeah.
but one of the best offers that you had was, you saw that they had an issue or a problem that they couldn't advertise and do paid traffic within this certain niche, and so you curtailed your offer and you shifted your agency into the SEO space, which is somewhere where they can contend with, and where they actually needed some assistance and some help, which is just very incredible. And you're seeing the fruits of your labor in that 18-month transition happen right now. So what's been some of the biggest transformations, just on a personal level, that's changed in your life now over the last couple weeks, after growing out a digital agency? And you mentioned that you were now, with your business partner, going $30,000 and $40,000 months, and you're hoping to scale it up to $100,000 per month. That's a seven-figure agency that you guys are looking to scale up in the next year or so. But what has been the biggest transformation that's happened over the last couple weeks for yourself personally, now that you've closed out your first six-figure deal?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the thing is I would almost say after this, the six-figure deal was definitely amazing, but I think where the real transformation in my life happened was when I started to. So, just a little bit of backstory before I answer that. The last time when I was filming with Evan, I think it was before COVID for sure. It was a while ago, but not super long ago. But I was still living in my parents' house. That video was filmed in their house. Since then, I was also finishing my degree at university, so I was doing a full time course load, and I decided to explore digital marketing, entrepreneurship in general. And what happened was I was going to go to grad school, but I ended up leaving that behind. It wasn't an easy decision per se, but I think the last time we spoke, I actually was saying I'm going all in, and I'm so glad I made that decision, because getting into digital marketing and being in entrepreneurship, it's really opened a lot of horizons. And I think it changes your mindset completely. You see the whole world differently. You gain so much confidence when you're, when you learn how to sell, and just like everything like that, your whole body language changes, and it's just been a really, it's almost like a spiritual journey, almost an awakening of your true potential. I think that's what the biggest thing has been, to be honest. So, but after signing that deal, it's kind of like when you sign a six-figure deal, it's obviously exciting for sure, and it keeps you pushing for more and more. Just keep going. Some people are satisfied and they kind of want the more of the freedom where they can kind of step away and just like live a chill life. But I was always the type of person that takes it like way beyond that is just like almost obsessive over my accomplishments. And so for me, like, there really isn't an end. As long as I'm not killing myself and making sure I'm like delegating the stuff, we're going to keep pushing and keep going to huge new levels. And our goal ultimately is, with a lot of like, again, like a lot of agency guys, they do, they're one man agency, or like they have themselves, and then they have like outsource lots of stuff. But we're taking another approach where we're actually building like we want to build a decent sized organization here with like multiple, presence in multiple cities. So I'm actually in our office downtown right now in Vancouver, which again is one of the things we were able to accomplish, now that, we've been signing some good deals. But I think after that six-figure deal, it's really allowed me to, start delegating a lot more. And I'm onboarding some more reps this morning. And so that's it. I'm seeing kind of this light at the end of the tunnel now, where I'm like, wow, now I'm not going to have to wear six hats at once. I'm starting to really delegate things because I have a consistent flow of income now that is large enough for me to say, okay, now I can hire another SEO rep and they're going to do this XYZ. I can step back and start doing other things that are really going to propel us even higher, like filming sales letters, creating ads. Mind you guys, I haven't done a single ad for our agency yet, and we're at 30-40K a month, around there. So the next step is like rocket fuel. Like we're making partnerships with some film companies to make some ad creatives for us that are very high level, and filming video sales letters, really dialing in our own funnel, making our website look better, building our own SEO. But you can get to this level, guys, just doing outbound sales. And that's what I would recommend for anyone who's really, starting out, or like entry level sort of agency is this remote sales rep model has really been fantastic. But I'm looking forward to, I guess, the biggest revelation out of the six-figure deal, just looking forward to not having to work 16 hours a day anymore.
Well, that's the big thing. That's where weeks number 7 and 8 come in of agency supremacy as well, is that outsourcing and outlying that traffic. Because I know that this stuff is really powerful within the program, and you're mentioning sales, and sales is inside module 3, which is weeks 5 and 6. And sales, as soon as you get the ball rolling with sales, which is honestly the lifeblood of your agency, it is sales. If you're not making sales, if you're not getting appointments and you're not getting people into meetings, then you're not going to be making any sales whatsoever. And that's something that is very hard to outsource, because there's so many different steps in there. You have to actually be involved in one of those aspects. And then as soon as you get to that level of where you're at, Cam, you can start to delegate, and you can start to eliminate yourself from that overall process. You can say like, okay, now I don't have to do any sort of appointment setting anymore. I don't have to do that. Now I can find someone to be an appointment setter. Or now I don't have to do an introductory meeting or the demo call, because you're doing demos now, which is honestly fantastic. Where you can now delegate someone to memorize a script for 15 to 30 minutes and take a prospect through that sales call and see if they are willing to accept the offer that the demo provides, and then they can speak to either yourself or someone else as the second sales rep as the close. There's so many different aspects that you could do to delegate yourself away from the business, so that the business operates like a machine, which is what module 4, which is literally how I designed module 4 inside of agency supremacy. So now that you have done this work, and it's not enough. Some people have the mindset, and I'm very much in that similar mindset too, where before the age of 30, I wanted to get location independence for myself. I'm 27 right now, and I've been able to achieve that. I'm very proud to have been able to achieve that before the age of 30, which is kind of like, I don't know, I guess like retirement or whatever, like freedom, like 55 or something like that, where you can just literally not have to be held down and have to work. I can choose to delegate my tasks with the agency and develop the agency in any sort of direction that I want to go. And it's the same thing with yourself. But then there's people like you, Cam, who come along and you just want to steamroll and keep going and going and going and going and going, which is honestly incredible. And that's why I was so happy that we've been able to work on that relationship where I've been able to see and see you grow all the way from that humble beginnings of being in your parents' place, not having any clients with no direction, to all the way now to closing out a six-figure deal, which is incredible, and continuing to use that momentum into the future. And now you've started to delegate tasks as well. So take me through the process now of delegating the tasks and being able to separate yourself in the business, because so many people get the misconception of being the one entrepreneur, where they're the one man show, and that is an incredibly difficult mindset to overcome. How did you end up overcoming that, and take us through the process of delegating some of the tasks that you have, and instead of working in the business, you're working on the business?
Yeah, great question. And guys, it's one of those things, like entrepreneurs, we will do whatever it takes to find success. That real entrepreneurs like that, I've discovered, obviously through my own experience and seeing others too. But you get to a point where you're hustling so hard, but you have this self-actualization moment where you're like, I can't function anymore. Like this is like actually, like I'm actually like burnt out, right? So you kind of need those moments. Like the really top entrepreneurs though will get to that point, and then they'll understand that I need to do something here. This is a chance for me to learn. It's not to get discouraged or burn out and quit. It's how do I navigate this and use this as a way to go like this, right? So what I did was, at first I was offering way too many services. I was doing social media management. I was doing Facebook ads, Google, Twitter, everything, right? And SEO. And what I discovered was that there's absolutely no way that you can do that on your own. So you have to make a decision on what's the biggest revenue generator. It's not necessarily, if you want to make the most money, it's not necessarily what do you like the most. It's what's the most efficient to scale and what makes you the most money as well. So for us, and also a big one, what do you get the best results in with? Like what service gets the best results for the client? Because the client doesn't care about, oh, those metrics were so great. Oh my God, the click-through rate. It doesn't really matter to them, I've discovered. And as like digital marketers, we're kind of nerdy about the numbers sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's how much money did they make, right? What was the ROI? Maybe at a higher level, some of them, their objective is just brand awareness. You'll see like larger companies, that's their objective because they have these preset budgets, and that's a different scenario. But for most of the time, it's how much money came in, right? And what was the profit margin, and was this a good, worthwhile investment? So we discovered that SEO was really, really good for us because typically clients understand that it's a longer term engagement to see the real results. So it allows them to kind of dedicate more, sign on for a longer period. But also too, it allows us, SEO is great because if you follow a set strategy, typically you will get the really good results. As long as you know what you're doing and you're delegating it efficiently and the people you're delegating to are good. So we were able to compartmentalize different components of SEO. So we went all in on that pretty much, right? There's some other niches that we'll do, like Facebook ads, like e-commerce. We're doing some of that as well. But for that, we're also doing more marketing strategy, which is different. But for 90% of the business is SEO right now. And so with that, I'll have one person doing copy. I'll have one or two people doing backlink building. And then for myself, either I'll do some on-page stuff or I will completely outsource that as well, right? So it really depends. The copy you can't really outsource to like overseas as much. Like that's good to, it's one of those things where you have to have it more with a native English speaker. That's the ideal circumstance, but also someone who knows about SEO. But you can kind of, what I do is I just outsource each task, each set of tasks is just one person. So you just say, here's what I need done. And then I use a Time Doctor or Hub Staff, and I track all the people and their working hours, and I get them at a really good price. And it ends up being like a really, really cost-effective way to do everything. And it allows the person to focus on what they're best at too. That's another thing. You just bring on the person and they just specialize in this one thing, and it all comes together, right? So really having a system and at first, I will say though, when you're first getting into digital marketing, it's more important to get people in the door, I would argue, but go in with the mindset of focusing on one service offering. I know Evan always told me at the start, just do one thing. And part of me wishes I did that. I did that for sure. And the other part of me is I kind of learned by just going through the process, and I got money in the door by offering all these different services. And I eventually discovered what the best one was. But there was a lot of painstaking, a lot of a roller coaster during that period to figure it out. So best piece of advice is try and figure that out as early as possible, and don't overpromise on how many services you're gonna, and really define that offering, because what you'll find is you'll get into some engagement and you'll have something called scope creep, where the person just expects more and more and more because it hasn't been properly defined. So I know I just talked your ear off there, but I have a lot to,
dude, it's all about, no, dude, it's all value. That's all I've been hearing from yourself. It's all the part of the journey, and there's so many people that are like you in your very shoes that you were in 18 months ago. There's people that were in your shoes that didn't have any clients, didn't have they had an agency, but they didn't know what kind of direction to go, what kind of offerings to have, or how to do their research or anything like that. And Cam, as a disclaimer for those that are watching, I've actually started to do a few advertising campaigns for my program, Agency Supremacy, coming up, and it was advertised as a 5-figure agency program. But now Cam, because he messaged me a few days ago, he actually kind of flipped the script on me, and now I've had to change up and redo all my content and make it into a 6-figure agency program, which is a really good problem to have for myself. But I've already spent like tons of hours already like filming content or whatever, so a little annoying, but it's annoying in a really good way. And I'm coming up with a design. We talked about that on our last Agency Supremacy weekly call that we had. Where we are, as a six figure prize, we're going to be doing wrestling belts as well. So we're currently in the design process of doing a wrestling belt for Cameron as our first 6-figure student. So very excited to be building that out right now, and to present it to Cam in the future, because it's a very good problem to have, because I have this vision of rewarding my students who did very, very well within the program, and utilizing it to its full potential. And Cameron is still using it to its full potential. And Cameron's utilizing module number 4, which there's 4 modules inside the program, where he's now starting to separate himself a bit more from the business and free up his time a lot more. So yeah, I'm very excited to present that to Cameron in the future. But Cameron, what are some of the takeaways that you've had since joining up with Agency Supremacy, and where are you looking to scale in the next year, once you get well past that $100,000 per month mark?
Yeah, great question. So with Agency Supremacy, the best thing was, learning the ins and outs of digital marketing. One of the things that Evan is very, very good at is he knows how to navigate Facebook ads like the back of his hand. And, I remember first talking to Evan, and he was just giving me tidbits of information. And at the time, I didn't really understand the value of people's time. So I was asking him all these questions, but they were so value packed. And at the time, I didn't fully understand the value, but, he was talking about things like custom audiences, lookalikes, all these sorts of things. And now like I understand all this stuff, and I really do. Whenever there's a question that I have, or there's someone I need to talk to about digital marketing, Evan is the go-to for sure. And he also was the one who told me about, how to initiate the outbound sales process and how to generate leads. And he's very, very good at delegation and everything like that. So, it's just been, Evan has really sparked this huge journey for me, and a new life for myself and a new career. And from this, in the next 12 months, we are going absolutely nuclear. We're going to go well beyond $1 million a year for sure. We're going to try and do 2 million. We're trying to get to 100K monthly revenue by the end of January. And then we're going to try and double that in the next year as well, at least. And the way we're going to do that is by running Facebook ads, Twitter, LinkedIn ads, all these sorts of things, Google ads, etc. And beyond there, creating other offers as well. We're actually building out some other offers, maybe not as niche down, but more affordable stuff. So we've really just tightened up our SEO offering and bundle it into more affordable offers as well. So we'll still have our higher ticket hands-on stuff, and then we'll have our paid traffic, just get people through the system, and it's a plug and play solution where people can afford SEO for their small business. So we're doing that. And we also have an app that's in development as well. A little early to talk about it, but definitely going to be cool to test that out. There's never a guarantee with new offers, right? But it's always good to refine and run some paid traffic and get that whole thing dialed in. So lots of exciting stuff, building out our team. We're looking to expand in the eastern part of Canada as well in the next 12 months, and rent a little office there, and keep expanding. It's gonna be good.
I love it, man. That is absolutely amazing. Cam, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today and share your story. It's such an incredible journey. And if you want more information on some of the tactics and what Cameron has been utilizing for his own agency, where he's been able to close out his first six-figure agency, you can check out down in the description. You can check out a link to Agency Supremacy, so you can have a look at the program for yourself and see if it's right for you. But yeah, if you're of a similar mindset as Cameron, an action taker, I highly recommend that you go down and check out the link down below, because it will change your life just like Cameron. Cameron, before we head off, do you have any sort of rewards that you're going to be giving to yourself, or anything as some of these accomplishments are coming in the door? Because it's quite an accomplishment getting to six figures. So is there something that you have on your brain that oh, okay, this is the one thing that I want to be able to afford or pay for? Is it a Rolex? Is it a Lambo? What is it, Cam?
It's funny, when I first started talking to you, I was gunning for the new car, right? But I definitely have transitioned more into the watch side of things. I'm thinking maybe in the next 6 months, got to get myself a nice AP or something like that. Go right to the
Oh,
AP.
nice. Nice, nice. I love it, man. I love it. I'm actually in talks with someone to look at to get their Explorer 2 right now.
Ooh, beautiful.
I'm really stoked for a Rolex Explorer 2. There's such a big wait list now. Just to get in the store, you have to know someone in order to get the watch, which is a little painstaking. But you know what? It's all about the relationship building. At the end of the day, we're in the agency space, and that's what we do. We build and curtail relationships. But
Exactly.
Cameron, and if you that for those of you that are watching, if you got some value from this video, I would love it if you guys dropped a like, as well as subscribe to the channel too. I post different digital marketing tips and tidbits every day, and today's video is probably one of the most value packed of this year. Just Cameron's whole journey from this all the way from the beginning until in the beginning, where he had no clients whatsoever, closed out his first client, and then within 18 months was able to close out a six-figure client for his agency, which is honestly just incredible, the amount of transformation that Cam's undertaken in the last 6 months. Just looking at it from a higher perspective, it's really great. It's really so many people think such short term in our industry, and they don't see the bigger picture. And Cam was able to see the bigger picture and has been able to grow consistently over the last 18 months. So Cameron, thank you so much for taking the time to join with me today. It was a lot of fun to chat.
All right, guys. Thank you, Evan, for having me. And yeah, definitely, if you guys are looking to enter into this space, or if you're looking to level up, you can move real fast in your career and income-wise through digital marketing. And there's no one else I would trust more than Evan. So definitely check out his new agency supremacy stuff.
I appreciate the plug, man. Have a good one, dude.
All right, take care, guys.